Hello, I'm Captain Jack and welcome to the Hangar Bay. On this channel, we take a deep dive into the best starships, technology, and more from your favourite sci-fi universes. Today, we're talking about the Odyssey Class USS Enteprise-F from the Star Trek universe. While somewhat new in official Star Trek canon, with its appearance in Paramount's Star Trek Picard Season 3, the design has been around for over a decade. Yet, with its appearance in Picard, it does seem like it was pushed aside. Today, we look at the technical details, story, and behind the scenes design work to see what the ship is about. Remember, for the latest videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think of the ship in the comments below. For technical information on the Odyssey class, we shall refer to information from Star Trek Online, the MMO video game. The reason for this is we don't know much of the technical details of the Odyssey in the main canon of Star Trek. The Odyssey class star cruiser has a length of 1061.1 meters, a beam of 371.88 meters, and a draught of 147.92 meters. With around 60 decks to the Odyssey class, this gave it around 2.5 meters per deck, which was standard for Federation starships. The vessel only needed 900 crew to be operational, with a normal crew size much higher. The Odyssey class is fairly standard regarding Starfleet ship design, with a saucer section, a secondary hull, and 2 warp nacelles. In some ways, the design of the Odyssey class could be considered a further evolution of the Sovereign class design. The saucer section continues from the Sovereign class to have a more oval shape, with a bridge module at its centre. Details along the source include phaser strips, windows, RCS thrusters, and escape pods, just to name a few. The registry and name of the ship is displayed prominently on the front of the saucer, with a light to illuminate it. However, differing from the usual name and registration, it has the logo of the United Federation of Planets above it, which could denote this ship as being the flagship of Starfleet and the Federation. This was at least present in one configuration of the vessel. The front of the saucer also has a larger black brace on some designs, which could serve some structural purpose to the saucer section, reinforcing its nose. Considering a lot of damage to the Sovereign class was done due to ramming maneuvers, perhaps Starfleet engineers are just anticipating that this Enterprise might also follow the same tactical decisions as the previous one. The rear of the saucer hides the main shuttle bay of the Odyssey class. The Odyssey saucer had a black curved chevron element to it, which connected to its almost sunken impulse engines on the saucer section. However, not only did it connect to these, but it flowed into the 2 struts which connected the saucer section to the secondary hull. This marked the Odyssey as different from your standard Starfleet ship, with its neck actually being 2 struts on either side, with it hollow in the middle. This gave it an interesting silhouette from the front. However, these 2 structures would blend into the secondary hull, meaning it almost has no neck, and it's simply the secondary hull attaching to the saucer from the sides. The nacelles, as standard, are connected to the secondary hull by pylons, which sweep backwards in this case. The nacelles themselves are fairly standard, with a buzzard collector at the front and blue grills along the side. The secondary hull, however, is fairly standard, with a deflector dish at the front. However, the most interesting aspect of some variations of the Odyssey class was at the rear of the Odyssey, with a docked support craft. This support craft was called the Aquarius, very much looks similar to the USS Jenolan in design, of a long singular hull connected to 2 protruding nacelles. This support craft could assist the Odyssey class on a variety of missions, as a smaller shuttle to even support in combat. Going back to the secondary and main hull, the Odyssey class is capable of saucer separation when needed. The Odyssey class is equipped with an impressive tactical array of 18 Mark 12 phaser arrays, with phaser strips located along the hull. This gives the Odyssey a very good firing arc. However, the Odyssey class seems to only have 4 variable payload torpedo launchers, with 2 probably being fore and 2 aft launchers. With this variable payload, we can be sure that the Odyssey not only has the most up-to-date photon torpedoes, but also quantum and maybe even some other surprise like chronoton torpedoes. In terms of interior layout, one of the Odyssey's biggest aspects from the inside is its bridge module, which is extremely open and multi-level. The bridge has your standard Starfleet configuration. It has a central area for the captain and his senior officers, surrounded by stations that use holographic terminals for ship operations. Instead of a window view screen, like we see in the Sagan class and the Neo-Constitution classes of Starfleet, the Odyssey class utilizes a simple view screen. However, it still has windows to its bridge module, allowing visuals to be used when view screens are down. In a previous version of the bridge, there's actually an exciting element. An exciting element of the Odyssey's bridge in Star Trek Online is it has a transport system at the rear of the bridge, allowing senior staff to beam to and from the bridge module. In case of boarding, this could also lock down the bridge from access to the rest of the ship, as it allow access to the vessel. The number of times we see officers on the bridge of their ship be given a mission and then have to take the turblift to a transporter room has been noted by Starfleet ship designers, who have considered this when designing the Odyssey class. Talking about the lore of the Odyssey class and the USS Enteprise-F can get a bit complicated. As such, we'll split this into chapters, one for Star Trek Online and the other for the main Star Trek canon, which we'll start with. The Odyssey class is named in honour of Odysseus, the Greek hero who went on a daring voyage. But more than that, it honours the Odysseys of previous Starfleet ships, so what better ship class to get the name of the USS Enterprise-F. The Odyssey class is extremely versatile in its mission parameters as a Starfleet starship, from strategic and diplomatic operations to crisis and emergency response, from a flagship of a fleet with the Enterprise-F to the USS Verity and its crisis response mission in relocating refugees. External material for the Star Trek series Picard tells us the Odyssey class Enterprise-F was launched in 2386. Over 15 years, the ship would have many commanding officers on various missions. In terms of Star Trek official canon, we don't know too much about the Enterprise-F's backstory, since we've only seen it briefly in Star Trek Picard, where it was due to be decommissioned. Once again, external information tells us that the Enterprise-F suffered a complete critical systems failure during a Monfetti Gambit, which involved a rescue effort of refugees from a planet. Starfleet then decided to decommission the Enterprise-F early. As such, we see this take place in Picard Season 3, during the 2401 Frontier Day celebrations. Admiral Elizabeth Shelby took command in a ceremonial role rather than the ship's actual captain. Unfortunately, the Enterprise-F, along with all other starships at Frontier Day, is hijacked by the Borg and loses control. Eventually, the situation is resolved, and the Enterprise is decommissioned. She is succeeded in name by the USS Enterprise-G, launched in 2402. Now the first Odyssey class we see is in the Star Trek Picard Countdown comics, this is in canon bear in mind, with the USS Verity, an Odyssey class starship which was active in the early 2380s, and is the flagship of Admiral Picard's fleet for the Romulan relocation effort. The ship would help evacuate colony worlds which will be affected by the upcoming Romulan supernova. Background information, again from the Star Trek universe, tells us both the Odyssey and Verity were built at the same time. The Odyssey class and the USS Enterprise-F are both introduced in Star Trek Online, the MMO video game. In the year 2409, in Star Trek Online's canon, the Enterprise-F was slated to be commissioned into service as a new vessel. Initially, Captain Data, formerly the USS Enterprise-E, was offered command, but he turned it down. The command went to Captain Vakil Shon of the USS Belfast. Before the Enterprise was officially commissioned and launched, the prototype Odyssey-class ship, USS Odyssey, was launched in 2409 and taken on trial cruise runs by some of Starfleet's leading captains. The first stage of the test involved scanning a group of satellites. During the subsequent weapons testing stage, they attacked and destroyed a group of derelict Borg ships set up as targets. The Enterprise-F played a major role in the stories from Star Trek Online, including retaking Deep Space Nine from a brief Dominion occupation. In 2410, it became involved in the conflict of the Undine, known as Species 8472. They launched a massive attack on Earth. Enterprise and Alliance fleets were able to stop them only after massive damage had already been done to Starfleet and Federation facilities. Later in 2410, following the in-game Iconian War, the Enterprise-F was refitted to the Yorktown configuration of the Odyssey class. Many improvements were made, including a more versatile deflector array, more specialized field projector equipment, additional sensitive sensors, upgraded engines, defense improvements, and improved automation. Admiral William T. Riker provided her new dedication plaque, which read, "Fate protects fools, children, and ships named Enterprise." Back in 2011, Cryptic Studios, the developer of Star Trek Online, held a contest called Design the Next Enterprise. As the name suggests, players could design and submit their ideas for the video game's new USS Enterprise. Star Trek Online was set in the 2400s, beyond the last main film was Star Trek Nemesis, which was set in 2379. The game already established itself as having the Sovereign-class USS Enterprise-E long gone. The winner of the contest was Adam Ihle, who designed the Odyssey Starcruiser. Following his design, Adam Williams and Jeremy Matheson of the STO team fleshed out Adam Ihle's design into the final form. Some minor detail additions were made, and the ship was added to the game. It appeared to the player for the first time in the mission, Boldly They Rode, in which the Enterprise aids a combined fleet of Starfleet and Klingon Defense Force starships in the battle to retake Deep Space Nine from a group of rogue Jem'Hadar soldiers. I have to say, Adam Ihle must find it super cool that he designed what was essentially the next Enterprise, following the Sovereign-class Enterprise-E. But not only would the Enterprise-F appearing in Star Trek Online or comics, finally getting to see on screen must be a lifelong dream for any Star Trek fan. Cryptic Studios would provide their digital model files to Star Trek Picard's VFX department for use in the series. VFX supervisor, Jason Zimmerman, and VFX production manager, Sean Owashko, would work together to make the ship screen ready for appearance in Season 3. Now we've discussed the technical, lore, and behind the scenes details of the Odyssey class, let's discuss the handling of the ship in the series of Star Trek Picard. The third and final installment of the series teased the Odyssey class USS Enterprise-F in one of the many lead-up trailers. However, it was made clear by showrunner Terry Matalas that the Enterprise-F would not make a big appearance in the third season. It was not the focus ship, that was the USS Titan A. We've actually discussed the USS Titan A and its bizarre renaming to the Enterprise-G in another video here on the Hangar Bay channel. Go check for that for tech, lore, and behind the scenes breakdowns. It is immediately established that the Enteprise-F is scheduled for decommissioning in Picard Season 3, Episode 1. While not said in dialogue, it's shown on screen via a data feed. In a disappointing story move, we're not actually told why the Enteprise-F was decommissioned early. It's in extra lore. We are just aware that it will be shown off at the Frontier Day event and then decommissioned with no future in sight. Star Trek fans had waited a long time for the Enteprise-F to hopefully become an official part of Star Trek canon. Of course, outside of a Star Trek Online video game. So when it appeared in Picard Season 3, many were overjoyed. However, with the end of the Picard series, the Enteprise-F is seemingly pushed out the door and replaced with the Enterprise-G, which does appear to be a step back in Star Trek's starship design style. Of course, the Enteprise-F was barely featured in the show, as it was not the main ship, but we might as well have had another ship take on the role it had in the show, like Voyager or the Stargazer. Then, the new Enterprise-G could have been an Odyssey Class, a new ship for a modern age of Starfleet. You see what I mean? To include the ship briefly, and then write it off for the sake of introducing a new Enterprise seems like a very odd story decision. It seems like the Enterprise-F was pushed out of the way simply to get the Enterprise-G in place. This is disappointing to many fans of Star Trek, not just those who have lovingly grown with the Odyssey Class and Star Trek Online. I feel like if they wanted to include such a big fanship like this, and one that would probably cement it into the Star Trek universe, it should have been used a bit more before throwing it away to make room for another Enterprise. Recently, I saw this fantastic animation by a creator called Vortex. It shows a scene from Star Trek Picard Season 3. Instead of a Titan facing another ship, the Intrepid, it's facing the USS Enterprise-F. The idea of the Enterprise coming after Picard actually sounds rather cool. It would have given the ship a lot more to do in the season, and it would also make its decommissioning matter a bit more, I think. It was also not just Star Trek Online. The Enterprise-F has been recognised in several other licensed Star Trek works. Former ship model maker, Hero Collector, made 3 variant display models. Additionally, the ship appeared in the Ship's Line calendar on more than one occasion. Also, don't even get me started on introducing a commanding officer of a legacy character and then killing him off less than 5 minutes later. Seriously. Regardless of how the Enterprise-F was handled in Star Trek Picard Season 3, its place as a modern starship happily succeeded the USS Enterprise-E in design and name. It's easy fit for service within the late 24th century and early 25th century. It's a shame we did not see it in as much on-screen action as it deserved. Check out the video linked on the end screen for another Star Trek Starship breakdown here on the Hangar Bay. That's the end of this video. I've been Captain Jack in the Hangar Bay. Remember, if you're talking about science fiction, we want to hear about it.